Hey guys, so let's start looking and delving into beliefs as promised. So I'm going to be doing this the Louise Hay way pretty much. So if you have the You Can Heal Your Life book that I spoke about last week, we're working really from chapter two. So in chapter two, Louise tells us to look at, okay, start investigating what the problem is. And the affirmation she has here, so chapter two is called What is the Problem? And the affirmation is, it is safe to look within. So last week we had the affirmation, I am safe, it's only change. This time I would encourage you, as you do this work today, to just start to tell yourself, it's safe for me to look within myself, because that's what we're doing. We're going inwards to be able to look at how we live our life outwardly. So it's an inside job, as I've heard people say before. Now, tomorrow, Gillian is going to be covering affirmations in more detail. So I'd highly recommend that if all this stuff is really floating your boat and taking your fancy, then you tune in tomorrow, because it really does accompany this type of work. And I would say with all of this work, it's a gradual process for the most part. And as I said on my intro video last 2 weeks ago, like I've spent pretty much 20 years, probably more, in the area of working in the area of personal development, or actually working on myself to find ways to live a more happier life, basically. So I would always say when starting this to be gentle, go easy, just enjoy it. If you have the time to do this stuff now, you know, happy days. It's great. It's a great opportunity to get. So it is safe to look within. So when Louise wrote this book, she wrote it in the style of an actual session with her, because she used to offer sessions to people, and then she kind of wrote a book to summarize what a session with her would look like. So in this chapter, she starts talking to people about, okay, what's the problem? And she categorizes four areas where there was always the problem always fell into one of these four. So it was either the body doesn't work, so there was some physical ailment, relationships don't work, so family, intimate, otherwise, finances, and then my life in general doesn't work. So talent, I procrastinate, I'm a doormat, whatever it is. So she said basically she heard all of this, and she would ask people some basic questions. So then she would listen to how they talk about themselves, and the words that they use to describe their experience. And she would begin to see that people were either completely out of touch with what was actually going on, or they were lying to her. But she said either way, it gave her a good basis to start. So we're starting now to uncover, so the bottom big chunk of the iceberg. So we're kind of going inward a little bit now. And this is a nice easy exercise. So I'd ask you to get a pen and paper. Um, and I'm going to ask you to write down a few things that you feel or think sometimes that you should probably do. You should do more or less. So, for example, for me, one of my shoulds is that I should really get up earlier in the morning so that I can do my morning routine before the day starts, and before people need me, and before I need to do other things. So that's a should of mine. So, if you have a pen and paper, just write that down. So, what's your first should? So, it could be anything simple, like I should drink 2 liters of water every day. Um, with this break from work, I should probably get out more. I should start running again. So, any shoulds you have, just scribble them down on a piece of paper. And as I said, they don't need to be anything groundbreaking. They could be as small as, I should cut down on the spoons of sugar I put in my coffee. Anything at all. Um, so what I'd like you to do now is to, if you have someone there with you that you're working on with this, great. If not, you can do this on your own. So with each should, ask yourself why and write down the answer. So, for example, with my example, it's I should get up earlier, and so I can do my exercises before the day really kicks off. Okay. So if I was to say, okay, well, why should you? And for me, it's like, well, I'd really rather be more organized, and I'd rather not have my morning routine trailing all the way into my day and taking up half my day. I'd rather be more disciplined, and I'd rather use the time better and more wisely. Okay. So have a look at your shoulds. So I should drink more 2 liters of water every day, and say why? Well, it's the recommended thing, and it's good for my skin or whatever it is. Okay, now what Louise has taught us is that we ideally aim to take the word should out of our vocabulary, actually. So it's a bit of a trick question. She kind of says here on page 30 of the book, if anybody has it, I make no comments on people's answers. So when she asks them that, when they are through with their list, I talk about the word should. You see, I believe that should is one of the most damaging words in our language. Every time we use should, we are in effect saying we're wrong. Either we are wrong, we were wrong, or we're going to be wrong. And she doesn't believe that we need more wrongs in our life. We need to have more freedom of choice, really. So what now I would like you to do, based on Louise's recommendations, is to rewrite those sentences. And instead of saying I should, I really should, just replace it by saying, if I really wanted to, I could. Okay, so rewrite each of your sentences. So for me, it would be, if I really wanted to, I could get up really early in the morning and I could do my exercise before anybody else is awake in the house. Okay? So if I really wanted to, I could drink 2 liters of water every day. Okay, so even saying it sounds softer. I feel more relaxed saying it. And the response then, instead of a why, well, why should you, is to ask gently to yourself, okay, remember earlier on I was talking about just being gentle, being easy, have like a playful curiosity. So I'm wondering, okay, well, why haven't you? If you really wanted to, you could. So why haven't you? What's stopping you? And this is where we start to uncover some beliefs, some things that we've been telling ourselves, or hidden beliefs that we weren't even aware of. So for me, well, why haven't you, Denise? Why haven't you got up at 6 a.m. and done your exercise and done all that? And it's like, okay, so to be honest, I have tried. I have been setting my alarm a little bit earlier every day, and I have been getting up earlier. I haven't achieved having my routine done by 9 a.m., which is a goal I have set for myself. But I have also been having really nice downtime in the evenings with my daughter, and we've been watching Netflix, and I've been staying up a bit later. I'm allowing myself the gift of 8 hours sleep every night, and that means that if I'm not getting to bed, say, come midnight, I'm allowing myself to sleep until 8 a.m., which technically means I can't do my whole morning routine between 8 and 9, including exercise and everything else that I'd like to get done. So yeah, if I really, really wanted to, I know I could get up at 6 a.m. But at the moment, I'm okay with the way things are. Okay, so does that make sense? So now I'm removing the shoulds. So I'm not going to should on myself anymore. I'm not going to say, like, I'm actually going to try and remove should from my vocabulary. So I'm not going to say, oh, I really should get up earlier. Like I'm kind of annoyed at myself over that. I really should be more disciplined, as I was saying. I should be more organized. So there's a lot of shoulds in there. So instead of that, what I've now done is I've gone, if I really wanted to, I could actually get up at 6 a.m. and I could have all this done by 9, be ready to take on the day at that stage. So yeah, but I know why I haven't though. I've allowed myself great night's sleep every night. I'm having, some nights where I'm up a little bit later than what I would need to be if I was getting up at 6 a.m., let's face it. So instead of being sleep deprived, I'm allowing myself my 8 hours. I'm spending quality time with my daughter in the evenings, and I'm allowing myself to, have until whatever it is, 10, 11 a.m. to have my routine done, because my work schedule is quite different now than the standard working day. So you see, then you kind of go, oh, okay, so I can now take that should out of my vocabulary and start to look at, okay, well, this is the reason why I'm not doing that. So there's some, there might be some belief. When I look at this in more detail, there's some little belief in there somewhere that's telling me you should be more organized, you should be more disciplined. So where's that coming from? And is that helpful? And in this situation, no, it's not actually. So if I'm being true to myself and my values, going back to my values, and my values are around self-love, spirituality, family. So all my values are being nurtured there, Yeah, okay, I have a value of being, having achievements in life and being, successful. But does that mean I am forceful with myself and that I push myself to a place where I'm actually sleep deprived and overtired just to have a tick against an objective of mine? For me now, no, it doesn't mean that. So for you, it might be worth looking at, some of those beliefs. So I really should. So what is that telling you about yourself? What is that uncovering about you? Why are you telling yourself that? And again, gently, just with, as I would say, a playful curiosity, even say to yourself, I'm curious. You can talk to yourself. I know it sounds a bit strange. We've been saying this to ourselves for a long time, you and I've been saying this for a long time, that I'd love to be up at 6 a.m. and I'd love to get all that done. So I do need to kind of challenge myself and go, well, why do you think that? What is it behind that? Well, I think I should be more organized. Okay, why do you think that you should be more organized? Well, probably like society. Like I know we've a lot of stuff now on social media, for example, that's great. But we've been bombarded as well. And this is why, going back to values, it's really important that I know what my values are, so that I'm not kind of, deviating, and I'm not being led by, all the different messages that are out there. So if I'm fairly solid and I know my values and I have my own sense of self, I'll know, okay, yeah, yeah, I'm going to drop that actually. I'm not going to tell myself or anybody else, I'm not going to talk about myself like that. I'm not going to say, yeah, I should really be doing more of this or more of that. Know within yourself, actually, if you really wanted to do that, you could, and maybe you don't really want to do that, and that's okay. So this starts to just ease away some of those maybe more rigid self-beliefs that we have that we haven't even really questioned. So there's two parts to that exercise. I should, so write down your shoulds and then question, okay, well, why should you? And then there's the more gentle and healthier way of doing it, and it's turning it around and saying, if I really wanted to, I could. And then with a curiosity and respect for yourself to say, yeah, if you really wanted to, you could. So let's maybe look at, why haven't we done that? What's preventing us from doing that? And it could be a really valid reason where actually one of your values comes to the fore and you realize, yeah, like I would have been pushing myself way too hard, and I don't, where's the value in that? If I don't push myself, and I found that I had a belief around that myself, I was very hard on myself at different times in my life. I had a belief that, life is hard. I don't have that anymore, but I found that through doing some of this work, and that you have to work hard. And even when you're doing anything, play hard. Working out, like I injured myself, push. I was always about pushing to the next level. And I had to really question that and look at, is this belief serving me well? And it wasn't, and that again took undoing and some work around that. So have a go. Let me know how you get on. Put your comments below if you have any questions. And I look forward to tying in with you later, where we'll do more of this great work. Thanks, guys. Well done.